Hi, guys. My name is Sierra Bazell, and I am here with Donna Shaw. We have been having technical difficulties, so we were not able to get on to Instagram. So we are here on Facebook, and we're going to be talking about pregnancy after 40. Thank you for joining me today, Donna.
Oh, this is such a great pleasure. I'm trying to see. I have now, oh no, this is the Flatbush doula. Now we're talking about me. Okay.
Mhm.
So, okay, now we're live now. Let's see if I'm on there. Share live now. Sorry. You can tell that I'm a 50-year-old woman
Hey.
because, you know, all of this, but I'm pretty hip with the technology. All right, let me just go to my page and see if it's come up.
Okay.
Okay, it didn't come up. I shared it on my page. That's
Um,
weird. Because I want my
Sometimes,
people on because
yeah.
it's all right, let me go back. How do I go back? All right. All right, let's go back. Let's find you. Let's find me. Oh, there I see myself. I'm sharing it again. Live now.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right, there we go.
Right. So, Donna, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are. Popping past 40. I love it.
Shameless promo. Shameless promo. Okay. So, who am I? Let's see. Wait, what's going on with this? It's doing something else. Okay, there we are. Okay. All right, let me turn this lower. So, I'm a certified holistic health coach, and I've been in practice since 2008.
Mm.
And I was acting and modeling for years. And my first clients, my first business was something called Get Thin for the Camera, which is so funny. But I was booked solid because I was in New York and all these actors and models that I knew from hanging out on sets and working with
Mhm.
wanted to look fabulous for shoots. And some of them would come in and they would have wardrobes specific that they needed to fit into, and I had to get them in there. And so what happened with me is, um, do I play now? What am I doing? Do I hit play? What do I do with this?
No, it should just be.
Nothing. It
You
should just
don't
be
have
because
to.
I wanted to see if any of my people were joining. And so I wanted to see what's going on, but I can't see it. So I don't see what's going on. So if anyone in the comments says hi to me, just let me know because I can't see it. Um, so what happened was I started working with all these people and they came to me wanting to lose like 8 pounds for a shoot, but then we would clear up chronic acne, or we would clear up digestive distress, or we would address blood sugar issues. So there were all these things that were happening, and I kept getting more and more excited about the results I was seeing, that when you get the body in balance and perfect health,
Mhm.
you'll lose weight, or you just get healthier. And with health comes everything that comes with it. uh, Fertility also, obviously. And then when I started on my baby making thing,
Mhm.
I was much later to the party than all you girls were. I feel like I met my husband at 41, and I had been on a VH1 reality show, and I had, tried dating. I dated so much my lip gloss was tired. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like done. And then I met John, who's phenomenal. He's upstairs in his office right now coaching. He's a coach. And when I met him, it was so fast. It was like the creator had his hands all over it. He's like, "What took you guys so long to get together?" And so we got together, and then we're like, I just thought it's going to be a breeze for me, even though I was 41, because I had been on a sort of modified fertility diet from the time I was 32, when I first heard Sally Fallon, who was one of my teachers at Integrative Nutrition, when I saw her speak, and I never heard the words fertility, diet put together. I'd never heard that. And then I saw her, and she looked so pink and healthy and like glowing. And I was like, all right, so she must know what she's talking about. So then I was very underweight when I started school because I was in the modeling world, I was in the dating world, I was in New York. There was a lot of pressure, and I was like so scrawny for who I am. Like I'm a substantial gal, you know. Like now I'm probably like 140 pounds, right? But then I was 112 pounds.
Mm.
And I'd just been through a bad breakup. So when I saw her talking, even though there wasn't a husband, even though there wasn't a boyfriend, even though there wasn't a whisper of anyone, I said, well, that's for me. The creator spoke to me and said, well, if you want to be a mom, you better get this together now. So I started eating, you know, more fat, I guess, pretty much was what the biggest thing was, and more calories because I was really very restricted. I was the kind of person I would travel with my food scale. I was in the throes of an eating disorder, which I'm sure a lot of your viewers can relate because there's a lot of pressure on women to, you know, be whatever we're supposed to be. And so when I met my husband and I thought, oh, this is going to be kind of easy breezy.
Right.
And then we did get pregnant right away, but it was chromosomal, and they told us it wasn't going to be okay, you know. And so then we met with a fertility doctor on my friend's request, and he was such a poopy head. He was not. He was like one of these guys. Like the first minute I saw him, he took out a paper with like a chart. And then he's like, okay, you're 41. And then he's moving across. He's like, this is your chance of a live birth each month. It's about a 5% chance without intervention or less than a 5% chance. And I was like, huh? You know? I was
Right.
like, what? And then he did the FSH test, and he's like, I think it was 13 and a half. He's like, oh, this is not good. You know, and then I said, well, give me a month. So did you have an opportunity to go on the Kindle and read any of the book?
So I was able to read some of it,
Okay, good,
but
good,
I
good.
want you to tell us more about your journey, because oftentimes when I'm seeing clients, they will say to me, and even with myself, you know, they give us all these numbers like, oh, your AMH is this and your
Right.
FSH is this. And I'm always like, these are numbers, but they don't mean that you can't conceive a baby. And there are things that you can do to improve these things. So tell us about, you know, your story and how that went, because people need some encouragement, you know?
They need encouragement, and they also need to, you know, I was looking at your questions, and the thing when you said, what's the number one thing? I mean, the number one thing everyone watching this should do is is fortify their relationship with God and the angels, archangels, and ancestors, because our ancestors really want us to keep it going. They want us to keep the lineage going, right?
Right.
And so they're all there, like in the grandstands, rooting for us to get this baby going, right? And so what happens is when we hear these numbers and we hear these statistics, so like my old card, let me just grab my old card. My old card said, this was my old thing was miracles, not statistics. That's that's for me, because what makes a baby? You think numbers and statistics are making your baby? No, it's your love with your husband or your partner, and your connection to God, and then what are you doing in the physical body? How are you treating the physical body? So anyway, I met my beloved Dr. Wu, who is retired now, but I text with him, and he's very excited about the book, and he's such a darling, but he's helped so many women. So He's a traditional Chinese doctor, does the whole herbs thing. His wife did the herbs, and then he did the needles and the electric stim with the needles and everything. So he every time I went in there, he would tell me some other crazy story of some woman who was going in and out of menopause. You know, FSH was 60, but she was still ovulating every other month. She had lost a tube from a up top, you know, like all this crazy shit. And then he's like, but still had a baby, you know, still had a baby. No problem having a baby. And then when I spoke with Dr. Sammy David, there's an interview with Dr. Sammy David in this book. I love him. He's from Fifth Avenue Fertility. He was my doctor. He's one of the good guys. So, you know, he would also tell me crazy stories of like crazy things that would happen. So anyway, my FSH was 13 and a half. And I was with this doctor that my friend loved. I think he got everyone on the Upper East Side pregnant, this guy, you know, one of these, you walk into the office like New York Magazine, best doctor for like 5 years in a row, you know, all the things. And meanwhile, the office is full of women, but no one's talking to each other. It's, you know, when you walk into a room, if you feel the energy is like this, that's not your space.
Right.
Because that's a place where God doesn't have room if people aren't exchanging ideas. God moves in when we exchange ideas, right? So anyway, I went to Dr. Wu. You know, I had John change his relationship with electronics, with caffeine, with sleep, with all that stuff. And then I worked heavily on like, okay, I'm really going to lay off the sugar. I'm going to get off the coffee. I'm going to, you know, Dr. Wu even wouldn't let me drink green tea. He was very, you know, so I got off the green tea. I was careful about bedtime. I was doing my meditation, whatever. So I go back to, let's call him the mean doctor. So I go back to the mean doctor, and my FSH was 7. I went from 13 and a half to 7. And you know what he said? Oh, it's a fluke. He said, you know, that happens sometimes. And I said, but Dr. Mean. Dr. Mean. I said, Dr. Mean, I was doing acupuncture 3 days a week. I started yoga therapy, and I was doing like deep yoga therapy, emotional work. And I was doing this, I was doing that. You know, and he said, it doesn't mean anything. And I said, but my acupuncture, he's like, you can do it. I mean, it's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to do anything. And I said, what about egg quality? He's like, you don't have any good eggs. He said, you know, I was 41. He's like, yeah, you don't have any good eggs. And then, and I told, you know, after the miscarriage situation, he said, you need IVF. You don't have good eggs. And he said, you need a donor egg. We have a fabulous donor egg program. It's about $30,000. Well, the girl can set you up. And I was like, right away, like, first of all, my heart is racing out of my neck. Oh, this is after, sorry. This is after 2 failed IVFs with him. So that was around $28,000. Because we did all the add-ons, because you got to do the ICSI, and you got to do the PGS testing, and you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do all the 3,000, 2,000, you got to do the add-ons, right? Because they scare the crap out of you if you don't do the add-on. And this is your shot. You got to cycle. You're going to do all the extras, you know? So we do all that. Nothing happened the first time. They were all chromosomal. They were all not good. I couldn't even get anything to go back in. They were so bad. So then the second time, they couldn't even do a retrieval because, and then he's like, oh, I know it's going to be good because I'm going to add an anti-cancer drug, an anti-cancer medication. We're going to use it off label. And you know what's so ridiculous? with all this stuff with, the virus, everything, everyone's saying, oh, you can't use those drugs because they're off label. Meanwhile, doctors use drugs off label all the time. They gave me an anti-cancer medication, to stimulate my ovaries. Whatever. Didn't work, and it worked so bad. It was so bad, they couldn't even do a retrieval.
Wow.
He's like, you got nothing, right? My body was so not into it. Every time I was doing the needles, I was like, this is not for me. This is not my story. I felt like it's not my story. Maybe that's why it didn't work out. I don't know. Energetically, who knows?
Yeah.
So fine. So then I'm on the phone with him. I'm devastated. I feel useless, And anyway, so then he says, we have this donor egg program. I'll set you up. And right away, I'm like, no, that's not my story. So then I was in my bed for a good long while, very sad, I told my husband, I get it. If you want to find someone with better eggs. He's like, you're an idiot. So anyway, so then I just thought, how did I manifest my husband in a sea of insanity? So I remember that I would get on my hands and knees every night when I was single, and I would thank God for my husband. I didn't have a husband. I wasn't dating anyone. But I was thanking God for something that I knew was going to happen in my body and my bones, but wasn't there yet. And so faith is believing in something that you're not seeing in the physical. And I think this is really important, Sierra, because anytime you're manifesting something, like we all as human beings on the planet, show me the money. We want to see it to believe it.
Right.
Seeing is believing. We want to see it. But that's not where the babies come from. They don't come from the see it and believe it. They come from the see it in here. See it in here. See it in here in your gut. And then I'll come. It's almost like they're up there. Did your daughter ever say anything like, Mommy, I chose you, I saw you, they showed me lots of parents and I picked you? Did she ever say anything like that?
No, but she did tell me that she came from heaven. When she was little, she would be like, I came from heaven.
Oh, and she did. And so I think that so there are all these baby beings up there, and they really want a body. They really want a mommy, they want a daddy, they want, or whatever the situation is for the person. They want loving people around them. And so they're looking. And if they're looking at someone who's like totally stressed out from all the cycling and the doctors, and they're like, and then they're also trying to be an attorney and run their job 80 hours a week. And then they're like, scheduling a C-section. This is what they want. They're going to get it all. And then they know they're going to have a baby nurse and they're going to farm it out. You think a really conscious baby is going to go to that place?
No.
A conscious baby, a baby that like, the kind of baby, like my daughter, she melts my heart. She says stuff and I'm like, she's so deeply entrenched in her connection to the creator, and it's like so obvious. You know what I mean? That's what we want.
Right.
And so those kind of babies, like the good babies, they're looking. Do you believe it? Do you see it for yourself? And do you know that I'm going to come through? Because I'll come there if you believe it, And so when we had this idea, and we just got on our hands and knees, and we're like, thank you, Heavenly Father, for our baby, healthy, happy, and whole. We know she is coming through us. We know she's going to be in a healthy body. We know, all this stuff. And then we started this thing where I'm always cooking. So we would have dinner. He'd come home from work. And I said to him, let's start doing this where we take a minute when we say grace, because we said grace every night. Thank you for our marriage, thank you. And they said, why don't we start thanking the Creator for the baby, healthy and happy and whole, and then imagine the baby sitting with us at the table.
Mm-hmm.
What's she going to be doing? Is she in a bouncy? Is she in a high chair? Is she in a, what stage is she at? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we started doing that. Then every night. And then I started playing this crazy game. Whenever I had a fear thought, and I was just, I couldn't even do my business. I was so like, I had the residual effects from all the medication. I was trying to detox. I was, it was like a real weird state with me. And so I just kind of like would be in my house watching the Today Show with Hoda and Kathy Lee. And that was like my moment of my life. And I would just imagine she's on my boob.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would imagine, okay, it's 12 o'clock. What are we doing? Well, I'm going to take her for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived on Riverside Boulevard. Where in the world are you? Where are you?
I am in North Carolina. So.
Ooh, that's the dream. I have such a romantic notion about North Carolina. I want to hear all about that. We'll talk about that, because that's, anyway. So I would just get her, like in my head, I'd be like, okay, is it a cold day? What is she going to be wearing? I'm going to bundle her up. And what are we going to do? And maybe I'll go to Home Goods with her. We'll get some more stuff for her in the nursery. Da, 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 da. This is before I even got pregnant. Then I had like a bunch of like these chemical pregnancies, these kind of things. And then every time I had it, I was okay with it. I didn't get upset. I was a little bit upset, but I was like, I know my body is working. I know my cervical mucus is okay. I know whatever. And then I met Dr. David, and he found all these things wrong with me. So none of the doctors are checking cervical mucus. Nobody's doing postcoitals anymore. And they're so important, because if that cervical mucus, if it's right and it's springy and like you go like this and it's all springy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it only happens for a short time.
Yeah.
But if it's right, it literally grabs the sperm and takes it in. And also, that cervical mucus does something to the head of the sperm, where it makes it, I think it does something to it, like it does something with a layer, or it makes it stronger. It actually, there's something that happens with the cervical mucus. But the fertility doctors don't care, because they're going to do IVF and they're going to do ICSI. So the sperm are not going to have to fight for their right to get in there. So they don't care. Right. But when I learned all this stuff from Dr. David about cervical mucus and, Mucinex cough syrup, and I was like, what is he talking about? Anyway, so we found out, we did a postcoital, and my husband's sperm were all dead. He's like, well, if they're dead, you think you're going to get pregnant? And I said, no. I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to be drinking green juices, like changing my pH? He's like, no, let's talk. So I don't even remember exactly what he did, but we fixed my pH. We did something. Oh, baking soda douches. And that's when I started getting pregnant with chemical pregnancies, because then it was happening, but then it was just an egg quality issue. And I met Dr. Owen Davis at Cornell. He was wonderful. There are some really good doctors out there. So he was wonderful, and he said, you really just need to work on egg quality. And meanwhile, the other doctor, the Madison Avenue mean doctor, said you cannot change your egg quality, which is such a lie, because we now know, Rebecca Fett wrote that great book, It Starts with an Egg. I wish I had that book when I was trying to conceive. Right. I mean, if you have that book, I feel like if you have that book, if you have my book, that book, you're all good. You'll know exactly what to do. So I got on all these supplements that I just figured out with the guy at the health food store. Like, I didn't have, now that you girls have all these great resources. We didn't have that when we were trying to conceive. No. We were just shooting. We were just like, all right, what are we going to do? We didn't know about ubiquinol and it fortifying the energy center, the mitochondria. We didn't know any of that shit. We
No.
were just trying. We were like, okay, the guy at the health food store said it's going to be good. And you know what, Sierra? He was 100% right. All of his recommendations were exactly what Rebecca Fett had said. You
Mm-hmm.
know, anyway, it was great. So then I started the supplements. And then my friend Tori Quisling, who's an amazing clairvoyant, she wrote the book um, Calling in Your Baby.
Mm.
So she really deals with it on an energetic, spiritual level. So that book is great too. We can link it below. I'll send you the link. It's called Calling in Your Baby. So she, who has been my friend for years, she says, "Listen, I'm doing a class. She teaches clairvoyance over Zoom."
Mm.
So she said, "Why don't you come in? I have 5 students. We can do it over Zoom, and you'll be the readee, and they'll tell you what's going on with the baby, and manifesting the baby." So then they said the one guy, I forget his name, but I met him a couple of times at a few of her workshops. He was
Mm-hmm.
very lovely. I'm friends with him on Facebook. But he just has his initials, so I don't remember his name. But he said to me, "Get a dog." He said,
Mm.
"I see, then you get a dog. The baby, so the puppies, what they do is they let the baby beings know, is this a good mommy, daddy, or not?
Mm.
Because they see how you take care of them. The baby beings can see how you take care of them. So I get the dog. So I go, that's a whole nother story. It's a whole chapter in the book about how I got Daphne. Let me see if she's going to growl. She might growl. Hey, Daphne, can you come say hello? Do you hear her?
Mm-hmm.
She's,
Oh, hi, Daphne.
hi, hi guys, hi guys.
Aw.
She's like, "Come on, get off of me." Anyway, so look at how cute she is. She's so cute. So anyway, so the minute I had her,
Mm-hmm.
how John and I spoke to each other were different. Are you going to take the baby for a walk, or am I going to take? Did you get the poopy bags for the baby? Am I get? You know, or we'd be in bed and Daphne would be there. I'd be like, "Go give daddy kisses." So then now you're starting to talk to each other, and you see yourself as a parent when you get the dog.
Right.
It's a whole weird thing because then she was teething, and then she had a stomach bug, and then, oh, is the baby okay? Oh, I got to wash the baby. And then you're a parent. And so what that does to your nervous system, it relaxes your nervous system. And then you're not like, oh, I need it. I need it. It's there. So, the Bible quote, "To he who hath more will be given."
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a parent to a puppy, now it's already in your world. So now that takes the pressure off you. And then your stress is relieved, and then you feel better, and then you have your little friend.
Mm-hmm.
And she was with me every minute of the day. I took her to the stores, we went everywhere, we had so much fun, the whole thing. So, and I think that's also how I manifested a girl, because the girl energy was
Mm-hmm.
really strong. There was a lot of like girly stuff, and my daughter's a real girly girl. She loves pink. She loves bows. She does take Taekwondo, and she breaks boards now. It's crazy. She's got like nunchucks, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Anyway, but she's a girly girl. So anyway, then I got the dog, and then Dr. David found that I had sorry, that I had a heightened immune system. That's why I was having the chemical pregnancies. So my body thought they were intruders. So
Mm-hmm.
then we did prednisone, and we did all this other stuff. I hated the prednisone, but we did it for like 3 cycles, and we were doing IUIs. So
Mm-hmm.
John and I were having a lot of sex and doing IUIs. Like Dr. David is not one of these save it up.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. David's like, just have as much sex as you can, build up the sperm, that when the egg drops, there's a ton there.
Right.
So, my husband, God bless him, and he's 5 years older than me, but he was a champion. He'd be like, "All right, we're going? We're going to do this?" So And also, he did acupuncture, and we worked on his sample. And when he had a semen analysis at the fancy fertility doctor, they said he had A- sperm. But then when Dr. David looked at his numbers, he said, yeah, the numbers are good, but the morphology, motility, and shape, movement, and numbers. Okay. Morphology, whatever, and numbers. And then he said, no, we can work on this. We can get this better. So he went to Dr. Wu. He did herbs and and we worked on his whole thing. And within a month of seeing Dr. Wu only a few times and changing a few things, he went up, I don't know, millions.
Wow.
And the shape got better and the movement got better in 1 month.
Wow.
So what took me 4 months to change my egg quality, because it takes 4 months for us to work on egg quality, he did it in a month.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So anyway, so then we did 4 cycles with Dr. David. All right. So the last cycle was September. So September the 12th. And I said to Dr. David, I said, I didn't like Clomid, made me feel like crap sandwich. I hated the prednisone. And he said, well, I said, I don't want to do any medicine for this next cycle. I don't want anything because I don't like the way I feel. So he said, okay, but we do need to do something to suppress the immune system. So when I had my killer cells and my C19 cells checked, I had elevated C19 cells. So there's a therapy that he was doing that was very experimental for killer cells. And it was a soy drip, like an intravenous soy something. It was a packet. I don't even understand it to this day. You'd have to ask him about it. But it was like a soy drip. So those packets were $400 each for the packet. But monitoring was only $300. And when you compare it to the $28,000 that people spend on fertility treatments, it was nothing. You know what I mean? And the great thing about all of this is there are a lot of things now you can do on your own without, because people will watch this will be like, oh, well, it's easy for her. She had money. No. There are things you can do. Baking soda douche. You can work on your egg quality. You can do all this stuff with very little money. If you can't do acupuncture because it's, $100 a pop, you can find acupressure on the internet. You can find fertility acupressure and just push your points. There's a lot of stuff we can do when there's little money. So don't watch this video and say, oh, these people are spending a lot of money. You can do things without a lot of money. I'm just letting you know, the truth, what my journey was. My husband's successful. I don't know what to say, So we did whatever we could. We were older, but I don't want to feel bad about that. You do what you do, right? So then we did the soy drips. I think I did 2 or 3 of them that week. We were monitoring. I could see which side it was dropping from. And then he said, okay, I'm getting chills talking about it. He said, okay, you got to go home, start having relations. He always used to say, have relations with John. So we would do the whole thing. We would do the thing where I did the baking soda douche, which will hold pH for up to 8 hours. So you do it. The recipe is in my book. The recipe is also in Dr. David's book, Making Babies. Do you know about Dr. David's book, Making Babies? It's such a good book. He's so amazing. I love him so much. And he also works virtually with people. I love him.
Oh, super cool.
I have a friend that's now jumping on it. A lot of my clients work with him virtually because people can't get to New York. So anyway, it's still a lot cheaper than IVF. It's much cheaper than IVF. So anyway, then I go do my baking soda douche. John and I have a lot of sex. John's like holding my legs up. We're putting pillows under my hips. After we have sex, we had cut out pictures of babies and put them in a file, like actual pictures. We're not on our phones.
Right.
And we're just looking at pictures of babies. We have a little altar with a onesie, and we're just looking at everything. And we're talking about, we're canoodling, we're getting our oxytocin up, which helps you get pregnant, and we're
Right.
talking about it, right? So then we go in at like 7 in the morning or whatever. John gives his sample. Then we go to breakfast, and we eat a big breakfast, and we're talking about all the food I'm going to eat when I'm pregnant, how much fun that's going to be. And then we go back, and Dr. David, when he does an IUI, it's a spiritual thing. He
Mm-hmm.
lowers the lights. He'll pray with you, right? And he doesn't just do the ones that are in the A team. He calls it the A and the B team. So a lot of the doctors throw away the second part he's like, there could be a good one in there too. Let's give it a shot. He just wants to
Right.
get as much as he can in there.
Mm-hmm.
So he does the A team and the B team. He does like essentially he does 2 IUIs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then we did that. Then we did another IUI the next day. So he likes to do back-to-back IUIs. The other guys, they just do one. He does
Right.
2. So it's 4 essentially, because he does 2 at the first time and 2 at the second time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in there. He has a girl in his office that does acupuncture and Reiki. Not Dr. Wu, but she's on site. So I said, let's just have her in. So she needles us both while we're getting the IUI. She does the points by the ears, and I don't know what other points she does. Dr. David lowers the lights. We're holding hands. He's doing the IUI. And then he says a prayer before he does it. And he says, God, please move through this, and he says a prayer. What doctors say in a prayer? I don't know.
Not
When
many.
I went to the Madison Avenue, the woman comes in, John and I are in prayer. She's like, this must be your first time. She was so witchy. And then she like opens the trash can to put her gloves in to get fresh gloves. I saw there must have been 50 or 100 in the catheter and the thing. And I was like, oh my God, we're just a number here. What are we doing here? We did one
Right.
IUI at Madison Avenue. So whatever, fine. Dr. David, whole different experience. So now we're deep in prayer, deep in meditation. Dr. David leaves the room. The lights are dim.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to know Dr. David's office, he has like carpet. It's like you're in someone's gorgeous house. It's not like a doctor's office. So the lights are low. And we go into a meditation. It's very trippy, this meditation. And we're holding hands, and we're in that moment where you're laying and letting it take.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do IUI?
No, I
No,
didn't.
okay, good. So this is how it goes. So while we're in there, I see very strongly, I had a very close relationship with my Nana, my father's mother, and my Aunt B, who was like
Mm-hmm.
95 when she passed. She never had kids, but she loved children.
Mm-hmm.
And they were siblings. There were 13 kids in their family, and they all lived on a farm in the Catskills.
Mm-hmm.
So she was the oldest. She was the youngest one. My Nana was the youngest one, and my aunt was the oldest one. And they were the last 2 surviving. Isn't that interesting? All the other ones died. So they came through. I felt them very strongly. I was crying, it was like just wetness falling from my face. So we wait about a half an hour. Then we go. John was going to work. He was putting me in a cab to go home. This is before the Uber where you're flagging a cab. So he kisses me on the head. We're talking, and the wind's blowing. He's like moving the hair out of my eyes. And I said, Johnny, I think we made a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because my Aunt B and my Nana came through.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and then he welled up and he said, I think we made a baby too, because all 4 of my grandparents came through.
Oh, wow.
And then we had Paloma. That was
Mm-hmm.
her. And it was after a crazy journey
Mm-hmm.
when everyone said we'd never do it. I mean, my family's telling me to adopt a baby from China. I mean, everybody was telling me everything, go get Donna. And I was like, you know what? That's great. That's not my journey.
Right.
I felt it. I felt her. Here's the thing, Sierra. I felt a very palpable tug of her soul on my soul. It was like pulling me like an invisible string.
Mm-hmm.
saying, I'm coming through you. I've chosen you. And when I felt her latch on, I felt it so strong,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so I think there are so many things, but I think you want to question anyone watching this. You want to say, why am I having this baby? Why do
Right.
I want this baby? Because they can hear you. You know, there are right reasons to have a baby and wrong reasons. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to have a baby because you feel a strong soul tug that there is a little soul needing to have an experience through you, that's a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole chapter on this in the book. So we really want to find out why, you
Right.
know, whatever, you know. I mean, there are people, they have a baby to keep their man, they have a baby to, it's just
Yeah.
stupidity.
Yeah. It
You know, it
definitely.
just doesn't seem like it's in alignment with the creator. So,
No, absolutely not. And you've shared so many powerful things with us. Just the fact that you knew that you were supposed to have this baby. And even when people said, oh, your FSH is this, and oh, your eggs are crappy, and, all of these things, people say them all the time. When we had our oldest daughter, after I had her, I was told when I went to the fertility doctor, oh, your AMH is that of like a 45-year-old woman. And I was in my 20s, but I had a baby. So apparently my eggs weren't that crappy because I had a
yes,
baby.
right.
So, you know, um, to me, I just think that a lot of times these things can be discouraging to people because you'll think there's no way I can have a baby. There's no way I'm ever going to get pregnant because this is what the
The
doctor.
expert said, and
Right.
they went to the best medical school, and they're the best doctor, and they're this and they're that, and I'm paying $30,000, so they must know more. And women are giving their power away every day. And you know
Mhm.
what? The power between you and your creator is much stronger than any certificate from I don't care, Princeton, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I tell my clients all the time, there are people who go to the fertility doctor and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and have the best egg quality and have the most amazing numbers, but never have a baby. And then there are people who are told there's no way you'll ever get pregnant naturally who have 5 and 6 children. So you
Yes,
never
yes,
know which person you're
yes.
going to be. Those numbers mean nothing at the end of the day. And you and your husband have shown that those numbers can change just by what you do to your body. So I love your story. And I think your book is going to help so many people because they will see that there's hope. Oh, I just met my husband at 38. There's no way we're ever going to be parents. Who said that?
Who said that?
Who said that?
Who said that?
That doesn't matter. So if people want to find you on social media or they want to connect with you to learn more about your story, to get your book, whatever it is, where can they find your information?
So they can go, the book is available on Amazon.
Okay.
And as much as I'd love you to buy the book, you can, if you have Kindle, you can read it for free. I just want the information out there. I want to empower you as best you can. So,
Right.
it's on Amazon, Pop and Pass 40. You could also go to popandpass40.com, and it's poppin' spelled poppin', like what's poppin'?
Mm-hmm.
It's poppin'. That's what's poppin'. So anyway, popandpass40.com. On social media, I am Donna Sunken Shaw. So Instagram, I'm Donna Sunken Shaw. So I think it's like this, Donna Sunken Shaw, and that's on Instagram and Facebook. I have a professional chef and coach on Facebook that you can check out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And I have a YouTube channel that has my 16-minute full story on YouTube, Donna Sankenshaw. Um, and also I do what you do essentially. I do health coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of the work I do is really, it's like, yes, yes, I do the what you're going to eat and what supplements, but it's a lot of like, and I'm sure this is what happens with you too, because I could tell you're a spiritual person. I mean, we're both wearing cheetah. How did we know that? How did we do that today? I don't know. So a lot of it is I just I get quiet and still, and then I get messages,
Mhm.
and then I share the messages. So like I have a client, it was so weird. I meditated before our session. I saw her going to the ballet, and I'm like, "What is this? I see you at the ballet." And she started weeping,
Mm.
and she said, it was something I did as a child and I haven't done it since lockdown, and I need to go to the ballet, and it's something so simple, but
Mhm.
you don't know how that's going to nourish your soul and
Right.
enliven your spirit. It's like the silliest little things. You could see someone, and you could do that too when you're in meditation. I tell my
Mhm.
clients all the time, what are the messages that baby has for you? The
Right.
baby could want you to stop running.
Mhm.
Like if you're a crazy workout person and your body fat is low, the baby could show you a big hunk of cheese. Be like,
Right.
eat the cheese. Eat the cheese and go, you know, go do a nice walk.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like there are things these babies want to get born through us. I guess that's the most important thing. They want to get born through us. They want you to get your shit together so that you could be, healthy body. They want you in a good relationship.
Mhm.
So, like, if you want to have a baby and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to go do a donor sperm, whatever, that's cool. But maybe you could ask the baby being to help you find your partner
Right.
because they want a daddy
Mhm.
or, whatever that your situation is. They want two people,
Mhm.
you know, they want that unit. So you could, if you're dating and you're exhausted, you could be like, I know there's a baby being wanting to get birth through me, and you want a daddy or whatever your situation is. So, help me. And you'll find your husband quickly because when that baby being, and you'll find someone that wants to have a baby. You won't
Right.
have to like, you won't have to like push someone into it.
Mhm.
And that's another thing when you're dating, if they're single gals, it's like everybody says, oh, don't talk about marriage and kids. You'll scare them away. No, no, no. The sooner you talk about why you're dating, the less it has to do with that human being that you're sitting across from and more about what you're into and what you're passionate about.
Mhm.
So like if you say, like I remember I would be on dates and I'd be like, why are you dating? I would say to the guy, why are you dating? And if they said, oh, I like to try new restaurants, I like meeting new people, it's like, that's
Right.
not right.
Mhm.
If they said, oh, I'm really excited about meeting my person, I want to, get to the next chapter of my life. Like it's a screening process.
Mhm.
So then guys would turn around, well, why are you dating? I'd say, well, I'm excited about, starting a life with someone. I want a family. I'm excited about this next chapter. There's nothing to be
Right.
ashamed of. And then it doesn't have anything to do with him because
Mhm.
I'm on my first date. I don't even know who you are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to be open with the people because one of the things that I teach my clients is you want to be in a healthy relationship because both of you are coming together to make this child. So if you're not together, mind, body, and spirit, and you're not together as a couple, and one with yourselves, with each other, and with the creator, then it's not going to be good. Even if you get pregnant, then, it could be a crazy pregnancy because you might be stressed out because of the relationship. It could be a crazy birthing experience because lots of things can happen because of the stress of the relationship. Or you might not be able to conceive at all because, again, what baby wants to come and live in a situation where their home is not happy? So we want you guys to really be focusing on yourselves and also coming together as one. So you and the partner. And that's super important. And I love that you talked about that in your story too, about how both you and your husband did the work, because most times we see the women coming like, oh, I can't get pregnant. And I'm always like, but what about your partner? You're doing all of this, but what is he doing to address?
And then that speaks volumes too, because let's put it this way. If you as a fertility coach are seeing that he has he's smoking cigarettes socially, going out for drinks with his friends, not sleeping well, you see this as a coach, then the wife tells the guy, hey, we could do better on this. You got your cell phone in your pocket by your nuts all the time. Like, we can do better than that. If he doesn't want to change these things, do you think that's a person that's going to wake up in the middle of the night when your baby has a fever? No. You think he's the person who's going to bathe the baby when you're in bed with a double breast infection from nursing? You think he's going to take over for you when you're sick? No. So it's a good way to get it very clear if he's on board or he's not on board. And you know what? If he's not on board, that's okay. There are plenty of guys that want to be daddies. Yeah. And I love the way you think. Your clients are so lucky to work with you because you get it.
And so are yours.
I get it.
And I think it helps that, I dealt with secondary infertility. I didn't really have the primary issues. But my husband and I did go through a cleansing process together, and we were on a Daniel fast and praying every day before we had our oldest daughter. But for me, I think going through fertility issues, and I don't know about you, but it helps me to connect with the people that I'm working with because I've been there and I know what it feels like. It's some person that has 7 children and never had a problem. Yes, you can try to tell me how to get pregnant because you have no problem doing it, but the information doesn't mean as much because you don't know my struggle.
I mean, when you're like, I don't know about you, and it sounds like probably you're very similar to me. Even when I'm following social media people, it's like, I want the person who's been in some sort of struggle, who now looks great, who now has money, who now has the baby. It's like, I want someone who's sort of like, not everything was easy. Like, I watch some of these people on YouTube because I watch a lot of like home decor stuff. And when I'm watching this stuff, if someone has just like basically bought the entire Restoration Hardware catalog and you could tell their father bought it for them, I'm just like, I have no energy for that. I want to know, like, what did you go through? Like, what's your story? Like, even the people, the home decor people, like Clutterbug. Like, I don't know. Do you follow her? I love her.
No, I don't.
She's so great. She was like the messiest person in the world. And now she's like completely organized.
Wow.
And like, I want my people like that, because I was a mess and now I'm very neat. I got it together. But if I'm trying to lose baby weight, I don't want to go to like some 17-year-old Instagram star who looks hot all the time. Like, I want some chick who's got some stretch marks, who freaking gained 40 pounds like me when they were pregnant and then lost the 40 pounds.
Right.
Like, that's how I like my people. I like my people a little damaged and gone through with the help of the creator. That's what I like.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Donna, I just want to thank you for joining me today. And I hope that you guys got something out of this talk. We will be sharing it on other platforms once we download the video. So be sure to look out for that and follow us on social media for more information.
What's all your stuff? What is all your stuff?
I am at the Ultimate Fertility Consultant on Instagram.
I love that.
Thank you.
I just got chills. That suits you. Because you're the ultimate. You're the ultimate.
Yes, I am the ultimate. So I am there on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I am changing over from Sierra the BB Doula on Facebook, but Facebook is not working with me currently. So I'm just waiting for that to change.
And then you're going to be the ultimate.
Yes, the ultimate everywhere. So yes, I'm excited about that. And I just want to thank you again for joining me. Please check out Donna's book. It's amazing. You need to hear her story. Thank you for sharing. All right,
Oh, I
guys.
love you. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Thank you so much.
All right.